All righty, it's noon time. Here we are for lunch and learn. Hopefully you've got your meal there with you. I just finished mine. I'm Wally Conway, for those of you who I haven't met before, from Home Pro Inspections here in Jacksonville. What we're going to share over the next hour or so is an introduction to divorce real estate. Well, you might ask the question, how in the world does a home inspector in Jacksonville, Florida, end up speaking on divorce real estate all over the country? Well, here's how it happened. About a dozen years ago, I was in Dallas, Texas, at a mastermind program for home inspectors, and the guest speakers were two very nice ladies, one real estate lady and one attorney, who spoke to us about a program they developed called Divorce This House. Now, I was intrigued by the program. You know, so many people end up in divorce and very few people come out of divorce on the other end, in a really good place as it relates to real estate. So their program initially targeted real estate agents. They then got involved with divorce attorneys, lenders, home inspectors, many other groups, really affiliates of the real estate transaction. Over this dozen or so years, the principals who started the program have been speaking with me about speaking for them. And we had looked at different ways that we could do the program together. And earlier, really at the end of 2019, I was approached and said, hey, Wally, we got an idea. You enjoy speaking to real estate agents, you know lots and lots of real estate agents. Why don't you teach the introductory program to their full program, and you'd meet lots of nice people and we'd all work together and do good things. So that's what this is. So we're going to do, in about an hour at the most, an introduction to the program. The intention is, if you enjoy what I present to you and you see the value in what I present to you and you understand that divorce real estate is very, very lucrative, you may choose to continue on and complete the entirety of the program. And I will be sure to send to you all the discounts, all the handouts, all the links, everything all along the way. Many of you have pre-registered on Zoom. That's good. I will send you everything you need right through that notification methodology. Others are watching on Facebook Live. Some are watching recorded. Some on YouTube, others on LinkedIn. Whatever mechanism that we're together today, if you reach out to me through that mechanism, I will send everything to you that you need to complete the program. So that'll be great. So over to the screen share. Let's see how that's working here today. Yeah, it looks like a success. Introduction to Divorce This House Real Estate. So the initial question is, why? What is interesting about the divorce real estate niche? Well, to begin with, it's an evergreen niche. What do we mean by that? No matter what's happening in the universe, no matter what's happening with interest rates, what's happening with employment, what's happening with home values, what's happening with COVID-19, what's happening with civil unrest in the streets, people continue to get divorced. And quite frankly, quite tragically also, the more turmoil there is in the universe, the more people tend to get divorced. So we're going to take a look at how to leverage that simple fact to an unending stream of business and its value. Divorce statistics and demographics, we're going to look pretty deep on that. I'm going to give you some national numbers. We'll drill down to some Florida numbers. And for those of you who are with me in the greater Jacksonville area, I'll give you some very specific detail on the statistics surrounding divorce in Jacksonville, and also how to generate referrals in this niche. Some people have thought, well, gosh, if I specialize in divorce real estate, I need to be constantly reaching out to people who are divorcing. And how do I know who they are? Well, you don't need to be reaching out to people who are divorcing. We will begin the process of teaching you, excuse me, how to solicit referrals from divorce attorneys and why that's so lucrative. So why specialize in divorce real estate? It is, as we said, an evergreen process. I didn't really go anywhere. I just had some documents I wanted to be sure I had in front of me. It's evergreen, but let's drill down a little bit deeper. It's a point of differentiation. You have been taught since your very first day in real estate that there are riches and niches. That is immensely true. It's always been true. It always will be true. And the divorce real estate niche is one that very, very few agents specialize in. Now, virtually every real estate agent ends up in a divorce transaction, yet it's not a niche that's attracting business to them or that they're necessarily leveraging to their greatest benefit. Now, we'll show you how that happens. Technology. There's a lot of stink in the world the last few years about disintermediation, about Zillow and Redfin and Trulia and EXP for that matter. different technologies that are disrupting traditional real estate. What's traditional real estate? Traditional real estate is a relationship between you, the individual agent, and that individual customer. When that relationship is strong, it cannot be disrupted by technology. When the technology is stronger than the relationship, there's only one way to participate in that relationship, and that is to pay the technology companies. That does not happen in divorce real estate. And lastly, is changes in the tax law, the Jobs Act. A lot of strange things have happened in the last couple of months with PPP and EIDL and these other things, learning how the changes in the tax law, learning how employment opportunities impact divorce, and specifically real estate and divorce, will put you in the catbird seat to recognize opportunities that your peers really don't. And it is absolutely an underserved market. There are under 200 specialists in this particular area in the country. What does that mean? It means when you ask your peers, hey, have you ever heard of this? They're going to tell you no. When you interact with people who are very successful at this, they're going to tell you, wow. So do not allow the fact that something is new to you dissuade you from realizing its value. The end goal of our program, the Divorce This House program, is to keep people in the housing market. A divorcing couple who presently owns a home, that's two people who are in the housing market. One of the greatest tragedies of divorce, besides family disruption, is the fact that people leave the housing market typically after divorce. We want to be the guiding force to keep them as homeowners, whether it's in that marital home or the next home, and be a significant part of the local economy in that way. When divorce occurs, many other bad things occur besides the emotional trauma. It is immensely common that foreclosure is a piece of divorce, either in the lead up to or in the aftermath of divorce, because they weren't given the type of guidance they need to understand that that house is just another asset. There's so much emotion tied to it that they fail to see the real economics of the whole thing. And what ends up happening is, if one spouse understands the economics and the other is encumbered with the emotion, the person who understands the economics wins. It's not our goal to set winners and losers, rather to have real estate professionals, that is the agents, the lenders, the divorce attorneys, understand how to share and explain these things so that that property distribution is equitable and we get the emotions in check. 40% of people in the US will end up in a divorce. We don't want 40% of the people to be driven to leave the housing market because they didn't get the advice and counsel they needed along the way. One of the reasons we're so passionate about this is the tremendous disruption that divorce does in the community and to the economy. The National Association of Realtors over the decades has done a masterful job of convincing the public, of convincing the politicians, of convincing everyone that, in fact, home ownership is central to the economy. It is central to the economy, and not just because it funds real estate agents. There's the home inspector, the title people, the window company, the landscape people, lending. This is a significant part. Real estate / construction is the single largest driver in the economy. And when personal tragedy, the personal tragedy of divorce, disrupts the ability of those two people to be homeowners, it has a trickle-down effect that is terrible across the economy and the community. One of the worst things that can happen to real estate in a divorce is a court-appointed sale. Now, in the perfect world, there would be a smooth negotiation with the attorneys and or the mediator, guided by the financial planner and or the real estate professional, so that things worked out equitably. But all too often, they can't come to an agreement. When they can't come to an agreement, we tend to blame the parties, but a piece of it is, a piece of the blame goes to the people who are explaining the options and the implications of their real estate decisions. So it ends up going where the court makes the decision. Seldom, if ever, does the court seem to make the right decision, even if it felt right to one party in the short term. It often comes out wrong in the long term. Anyone who's been through divorce, had a family member in divorce, particularly in Florida, it's just a balance sheet. What is the value of the asset? They don't look at what is the income that comes from an asset, or what is the expense to maintain the asset. It's very cold and callous. Seldom is it right. If for no other reason to avoid court-appointed distribution, or dissolution of property is a great reason to participate with us in the program. Some of the things, as I mentioned, the disasters in real estate, divorce or divorce that come from real estate, bankruptcy and foreclosure could be leading up to, could be touring, and very, very commonly after the fact. So everybody's gone their way. The two spouses are separated. The divorce attorneys have gone where they've gone. Everybody's picked their side. And there it is, one, if not two bankruptcies, one, if not two foreclosures. Tragedy, ruined credit, even if they manage not to be bankrupt. They're getting behind on things, the home maintenance, the credit, it gets worse and worse. And selling solo, which is the for sale by owner, which is usually the beginning of a really slippery slope. Why? Not that foreclosures or for sale by owners are necessarily tragic. It's by the time the person gets to the point after the divorce where they need to be rid of the property, there's already 1 or 2 years of deferred maintenance. They're already behind on payments. They're already maxed out on credit cards. And who comes along? They're upside down. Sometimes they're ending up with lines of credits and other tragedies. And now they're forced into some very unpleasant investor relationships very often. Not casting stones against real estate investors, been one, still actively invest. You know and I know that when people are desperate, sometimes they make really poor decisions when they are tempted by people who don't have their best interests at heart. That's why we want you as a Divorce This House expert to be able to solve that. So we're shifting the focus in the entire process to a pre-consumer protection. That is, we want the community to know that when they're involved in divorce, we want the divorce attorney to know that when they have divorcing people with real estate, they need the expertise of a real estate agent who's been specifically trained, specifically schooled, with a deep, passionate, and personal interest in helping people through that process, really prepare for the process, through the process, and then recover in the aftermath of that process and come out in the other end, ideally as a homeowner in their best real estate position. So it's very much an advocacy and consumer protection based on being preemptive and preactive. The goal, the #1 goal, is preserving home ownership eligibility for both spouses. This does not happen very often. Even in high net worth individuals, often there's high net worth of debt, high worth of mortgages. We end up seeing people go from a perfectly wonderful life to a perfectly destroyed life because real estate was not managed correctly through the divorce. What's in it for the real estate agent? Wealth, quite candidly, in addition to feeling that you did a great thing for another individual and for your community. There is a tremendous flow, an evergreen flow of transactions that can come from one single divorce opportunity. I want you to imagine for a moment that you get a lead or a referral to a divorcing couple. That's one house that may very well be sold. That's one listing. It may well be, if managed correctly and the circumstance warrants, there's 2 sales, one for each spouse. That is now 3 leads or 3 closings from one divorce. If you are very fortunate and you have a good collection of listings and those 2 buyers buy into your listings, we've now got 5 transactions from a single lead. The math on this becomes mind-boggling. I'll show you some examples in a moment. Children thrive in a parent that owns a home. Everything, every message in America is driven toward home ownership, the value to the community, the value to the children, the economic value of gaining equity. Children thrive in that environment of stability. When there is a divorce in the situation in a family, that is immensely destabilizing for that child. They don't need the further destabilization of moving from place to place, or worst case being homeless, which happens very often after divorce and can be avoided in virtually every situation when we're involved early, when we're proactive, and we can help people to understand the economics and just let go a little bit of some of the emotion. So it's about consumer protection and it's about home ownership. These are central tenets to everything real estate agents do. This is just another way to enjoy, quite frankly, doing good in the community and also enjoy very, very lucrative professional career doing these things. Let's take a look at some statistics. Now, I'm going to give you some general statistics about divorce, and then we're going to drill deep into some very specifics right here in Jacksonville. For those of you who have registered, if you're not registered, register or let me know you want this, and I'll get this to you. This is the statistics on divorce in Jacksonville to give you an idea what this market really looks like. I'll also be sending you the handouts for a note guide for this Divorce This House program. Suppose I should have done that earlier, but didn't get done. But I'll get it to you so you'll have everything you need to move right along. All righty. The statistics, 40% of couples who marry in America end up divorcing. That is tragic, yet it is just a factoid. Here's a more positive. 55% of those who divorce will remarry. That's another opportunity. Why is that another opportunity? So let's imagine, just playing the best case scenario, you got 5 transactions out of the divorce, and now one of those, actually both of those, right, statistically, will remarry. Actually, one would statistically. But anyway, now you get to list that house and sell them a new one. Now we're up to 7. We're not even done with that divorce. And 1/2 remarry within 3 years. People remarry after divorce at more than double the rate that people move who didn't divorce. So from an economic standpoint in real estate, it's a pretty good thing. All righty, a quiz. I didn't tell you there was a quiz. It's easy quiz, and it's not graded. So it's just for fun. When are most divorces filed? What time of year? Here's the graph and the statistics. Divorce peaks in late February, early March. I guess like right after Valentine's Day, when they realize that was the final straw. I didn't get any candy, any flowers, I'm done. I don't know. But here's what really happens. All year long, when we look at the fall, we start having Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's, and those intensely family events and people visiting and all going with friends and gift giving. Everyone knows those are stressors. And for the family who was nearing divorce, it generally pushes them over the edge. They make a New Year's revolution and they start the filing process. It peaks in March. And then it tends to slow back down over the summer. Why? Because people are getting themselves situated for school to begin in the fall. And then once everybody's back in school again and situated, there we go, it picks up again. What's so fascinating about this graph is the peaks in divorce filings are exactly the opposite of the typical real estate swings annually. So that real estate agent who has, yes, we have some seasonal swings, blends in divorce, tends to do 2 things. It levels it out and rises the entire business of that real estate agent. Which spouse should you target as your primary customer when you're involved in divorce real estate? The house spouse or the out spouse? We don't pick on boys or girls or hims and hers. Rather, there's one spouse who typically is focused on the house. That's the house spouse. The other spouse, the out spouse, is the one going. As it turns out, the house spouse is the person who really needs us the most early on, because we need to be with them to help them decide, can you actually afford this thing? What is its actual valuation? What are the maintenance costs? How will this play into the divorce proceedings? Are you better off selling it? Are you better off giving it away? What do we need to do? So the house spouse is usually who will be your initial point of contact. There's no reason it can't be the out spouse, but more often than not, the house spouse is who's most attracted to your offering. When during the divorce timeline can you help the most? The absolute best time is before mediation, before they've come to agreement. Once the divorcing couple has come to an agreement with what to do with the house, once they've come to an agreement on valuation, they've come to an agreement on distribution of assets and any alimony or other monies that's moving either way, now you're kind of doing damage control. In the ideal, you want to be involved with the mediators, with the divorce attorneys, with the divorcing couples, so that the counsel they receive is financial from their financial planners, there's law from their lawyer, and real estate related advice from their real estate agent. That's you. So we're shifting the role from triage, meaning oh my gosh, we're already divorced. There's a distribution of assets. I'm 6 months behind in my mortgage payments. The water heater is not working, from a place of tragedy to a proactive position. Will you still end up involved after the fact? Yes, you will, but you'll be better prepared to navigate them to a really good place. All right. Which demographic has doubled the divorce rate since 1990? It's seniors. Gray divorce, those people 50 and over. I qualify there. And senior divorce, not that I'm divorcing, I'm over 50. And senior divorce, those 65 and over, which I will be in September. It's especially important for seniors, gray and silver, that they get proper advice and counsel in divorcing. Why so important? Because most of these people at this point are beyond their prime earning years. A large number are on fixed incomes, depending on their age and the relationship during the time they were married. One spouse may know next to nothing about money and economics, and having a trusted person to help guide them through the real estate piece of this is tremendously valuable to them. Let's look a little further. 65% of second and third marriages fails. You see how this got to be evergreen? It only takes 5 or 10 good divorces your first year in this business, and it just keeps going. We're not wishing evil on anyone. We're wishing good on people. But what we're really wishing is when this situation comes their way, they create this situation, if you choose, that they minimize the financial impact, they minimize the real estate burdens, and they maximize the opportunity to stabilize their financial position, and especially children for families. 2/3 of divorces are filed by women. Another interesting thought. All right, let's drill deep into some local statistics from my Jacksonville friends. I will send this to you, Divorce in Jacksonville. Where this came from, this was a study done by the Florida Institute of Science and Public Affairs. They were paid, they got a grant from the city, I do believe, to really dig deep so we can understand the economics of divorce, the relationship of divorce on the what and the why and the how. It's kind of interesting reading, and it's imperative reading if you're involved in real estate or involved in divorce. All righty. Let's make this like a quiz, okay? Just for fun. I want to put the Q&A up there so I can see it if you say anything to me. I got the Q&A open if you happen to ask me a question. All right, here's a question for you, and then I'll give you all the answers. How many full-time divorce attorneys are in Jacksonville, Florida? Just Jacksonville. 242. There are 242 people making an incredibly nice living, and all they do all day long is help people get through divorce. How many divorces occur in Jacksonville each year? On average, about 4,000. And it varies with what's going on economically. I promise you, with the pressures of COVID-19, the other pressures we're having in the community, we're going to set a record this year. It's unlikely 2020 will see less than 5,000 divorces. What's interesting is that's 10,000 people. Imagine for the moment, and this would never occur exactly this way, but just for fun for the statistics, imagine that every one of those 10,000 or 5,000 divorces had a listing. The truth of it is there's only about half, so we'll do that. 2,500 listings, that's almost 1 out of 10 listings in Jacksonville is related in some way to divorce. Now imagine that each of those divorcing people, each of the 2,500 couples purchased a house. That's 5,000 purchases. That's 7,500 transactions. It's actually 15,000 potential sides just in Jacksonville. It's amazing how we don't actually recognize the significance of divorce in real estate. Many times we're involved in a real estate transaction and no one ever even tells us that this is a piece of the mix. All right. Remember David Letterman used to have a late night show? I do too. He had the top 10 list. Well, here are the top 10 cities in the state of Florida for divorce. And we'll begin with number 10 and we'll go to number 1, just to give you an idea how prevalent and how valuable this stream of business can be to you and the great good you can do in helping these people. All right. Oh, and here's what this is based on. This is out of the statistics that I'll share with you. But anyway, they describe a divorced person as anyone 15 years or older. So if you're 15 years older and you're divorced, you fit into this statistic. Why is that important? Because if you only looked at people 21 and older, that percentage of the population gets even higher, because there's not a lot of 15 to 21-year-olds divorced, statistically speaking. Yet they're a sizable percent of the population. All right. Number 10, the 10th highest divorce per capita, 10th highest per capita divorce rate in the state of Florida, Green Cove Springs. I know we've got some Clay County people in here who might find that interesting. Number 9, Arcadia. Number 8, it's moving down to Putnam County, it's Palatka. Number 8 in most populous divorce location. It's per capita, not population. Number 7, McClenny. We're doing real well here in the greater Jacksonville area. What's interesting in these suburban areas around Jacksonville, many people coming to and moving from, you know, how our bedroom communities and whatnot, tremendous amount of divorce. Number 6, Mariana. Number 5, Springfield. Number 4, Lake City, not that far away. Number 3, Stark, not far away. Number 2, Defuniak Springs, still not far away. And the number 1 highest per capita divorce rate in the entire state of Florida, 11% of the population age 15 and older is divorced. This is mind-boggling. 11% of the population. When you walk through Live Oak, 11% of those people, more than 1 out of 10 people you walk by, are divorced. And you think there's not a need for this? You gotta be kidding me. All right, so let's move on. Lawyers, average clients per month. So I said to you, just in Jacksonville, 242 full-time divorce attorneys. How many clients does the average divorce attorney have? Any thoughts? 10 to 50, half of which own real estate. That is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So if we took 20 to 10 and 20 when you get down to it, that's 10 to 20 divorcing couples who own property times 242 per year. Can you see the craziness of the numbers? There are several thousand of these they're dealing with at any given time. Oh, the number 1 city, Stephanie, was Live Oak was number 1 with 11% of the population divorcing. I was a little behind on checking the chat, so I apologize. All right, Anisha, I see your request. I'll send it to you. So you can see this is very, very lucrative. And now you're starting to see what is the referral base. You don't have to chase all those people. What we're going to chase, if you call it chase, is learn to deal with and seek referrals from divorce lawyers. Each of those is generating 1,000 to 3,000 leads per year. Holy smoly. Here's an example. It happened to be in Orange County. It could be anywhere. But we have this going on in our area very much in high net worth areas, right? Folks are living along the river, San Marco, Ponte Vedra. There's many people in town where they are divorcing and they have a lot of real estate. There are real estate investors, there's business owners, there's strip malls, there's a lot of things. And the interesting thing when you're involved in divorce real estate, especially with high net worth or higher net worth individuals, is they begin to have a lot of commercial property and or residential investment property. It is not uncommon to be in a scenario when you work through your referral position where someone needs to dispose of 5, 10, 15, 20 or more properties. This is in fact tragedy. It's also quite lucrative if you can bring value to them. So how do we bring about a positive change? We bring about a positive change in divorce real estate the same way we bring about a positive change in almost everything else in life. And that is by having an open mind and education. So that this education culminates in a real estate divorce specialist designation through Divorce This House. And how that's done, or who did that, this is Kelly Mary. This is one of the ladies I initially met. I was shared with you earlier in Dallas. And her mom, Wendy Wassel, who was the real estate agent, they developed this program. And Kelly is a brilliant, brilliant person and a fabulous educator. She graduated from Stanford, went to Harvard Law. Among her classmates at Harvard Law were Bill Hillary and Robert Reich, among others. And she's presently on the faculty at Vanderbilt Law School. This is a brilliant woman who's exceptionally passionate about this mission and exceptionally passionate about education. I am with you for the introduction. In the remainder of the coursework, which is done as lunch and learns, they're 2-hour lunch and learns done on 5 consecutive weeks directly with Kelly. I'm not there, sometimes I pop in, but it's all run by Kelly and Wendy. They are specialists in divorce real estate, and superb educators. One of the reasons the education becomes so important is the primary referral source, the most lucrative referral source, is divorce lawyers. And a significant piece of the Divorce This House program is educating you to how to market to, how to communicate with, how to work with divorce attorneys who are with high net worth individuals in real estate. We can't approach them like we, no offense to Tom Ferry. It's not a Tom Ferry type marketing program. This is a very high touch, very high relationship, and you need to understand the questions, the answers, as well as the risks that are before you on this. So these new referral partners, what the goal is to create new referral partners. You don't need to stop what you're doing. You just need to make yourself into a very attractive place for divorce attorneys to find trust and guidance relating to real estate, to have that designation recognized in the community, making it easy to promote. Also, there's a national network of people who've been educated. They are lawyers, lenders, appraisers, and real estate agents, and a couple of us home inspectors, believe it or not, who move information, move referrals, move questions and answers back and forth to each other. You'll be a part of that community, which is especially important where you're getting your feet on the ground and learning early on. So how many lawyers do you need to have a really nice business? If you have 1 to 3 lawyers referring you, who each have 10 to 20 spouse house type clients working with you, what you suddenly discover is you are in a very, very lucrative position very quickly. And unlike so many lead referral sources, they're not asking for money. They're asking for your professional performance, your guidance, your trust, your ability to have conversations with the attorneys and conversations with the divorcing people so they can understand the implications of the various choices. How not to market to real estate agents. Divorce attorneys, mass mailers, cards, brochures. Hey, call me if you know anybody divorcing. Do not do any of that. No cold calls, not even asking for business or bragging about your statistics. They don't want you bragging about anything. Divorce is one of the most sensitive things that people go through. They are exposed. Their finances are exposed. Their foibles, their bad habits, everything is exposed. And it's a very discreet, very professional engagement that they're looking for. Lawyers respond best to professional introductions, much like all the rest of us, much like me. I would love your professional introductions to agents and buyers and sellers that you know. And you sit and say, I don't know any divorce attorneys. When you sit and think about it, you probably are only one step removed. You may have had a divorce, so you know a divorce attorney. Even your former spouse's divorce attorney is another divorce attorney you know. Friends, family members, neighbors, others in your real estate community who have no interest in this work, or have not been here with us and don't understand the potential, who have been divorced or are married to a divorce attorney. They're much easier to get to than you might surmise from a real estate perspective, because frankly, no one's talking to them, all right? It's just learning the conversations. And the real learning of those conversations will come from Kelly and Wendy as you move through the program. Lawyers, the goal with a lawyer is they perceive you as an ally, as a colleague, as a trusted person in the process, not just another vendor. If they see you as a vendor, they actually don't need you. So each lawyer you work with, not only do they have referrals to provide you from inside their practice, they have referrals from outside their practice. When you complete the Divorce This House program, when you gain positions of trust with even that first divorce real estate agents, and they see who you are and how you behave and how you perform as a professional, people in their personal sphere not divorcing become referrals. So it's really a boundless avenue to get in. So how do you move this forward? You move this forward by completing the program. How do you complete the program? Well, today was an introduction. It was just to give you an idea, to open your mind to the idea of a stream of business involving divorce attorneys and divorcing couples. The designation program, originally, they did them as 3-day on-site programs. You could travel to them, they would travel to the local area. With the advent of COVID and the wonders of Zoom and the internet, they're now doing them as lunch and learns. It's a 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. You get your lunch, you sit down in relatively small groups of 20 or so and do what we're doing today, except rather than it be one way, it's a lot more conversational. What is the cost? The cost is normally, I think, $695. I don't get paid to do this. I enjoy this. I like teaching. I like sharing ideas. I like creating great relationships. I really enjoy helping real estate agents grow their business in it, frankly. The idea is to look to earn their trust and receive those referrals back. But back to the Divorce This House program, Wendy and Kelly said to me, Wally, we can't pay you to do this. I'm like, oh, how about if people sign up? They said, no, we can't pay you to do this at all. Just do this because you like it and do this because it's good for people in your community. And I said, okay, but what will you do for the people in my community? They said, we can give them $100 off. I said, great. So even though the website, as I shared with you, is divorcethishouse.com, put first, and for those of you who are with me on Zoom, I'll send this to you. In fact, I should put it in the chat. Let me do that. www.wally.divorcethishouse.com. Yeah, that's right, divorcethishouse.com. That will take you to a landing page that the ladies created specifically for you and I that has all the upcoming dates that you'll be able to do this, and it also will give you that discount. You can go to the Divorce This House site without the Wally part and see other opportunities available in other cities and whatnot. In addition to the Zoom thing, you just won't get the $100. I actually had one person do that, and they asked me if I'd give them $100, and I said no. So anyway, that is what I wanted to share with you. I'm very, very grateful that you've been with me. As I said, for those of you with me on Zoom, Betsy, Nisha, Rose, Tiffany, and the others, I've got your information. I will send everything to you. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, I need your email or else I can't get it to you, okay? And if you're on LinkedIn, just send me a LinkedIn message. I will get you everything you need to be successful. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me about my experiences and whatnot, Steph, I'll send all that to you in just a bit. Just reach out to me. We'll sit and we'll do a Zoom. You can come in the office or whatever. Once you graduate, I would love to have you in the TV studio with me to assist you in promoting and also in meeting the folks that I know who are actively involved in this. So I thank you. I respect you. I really enjoyed sharing time with you. Looking forward to doing great business soon. Tiff, the course I think is $595 after the discount. If you go to the website, wally.divorcethishouse.com, it'll have any and all discounts available to you. So it's not very expensive. Thank you all so much.